Hello, everyone, and welcome back.
Today, we're talking about marriage and money. Subject of money is very personal. We always want to defend the decisions we make with money.
We also sometimes don't want to talk about money because we're not really sure what our situation with our money is.
Yes, I've heard people say, I don't know how much debt I even have, and it's scary for me to even think about it.
Yeah, because they are not sure what to do about it when they find out and how they're going to start. But in that case, we're kind of like little children who, they hide their faces behind their hands and they think nobody else can see them. But in reality, the situation isn't going to go away because you're ignoring it. People have a lot of misconceptions about money. I mean, look at the movies we watch and the culture around us, and even in church and our families and friends. It seems like it's a common misconception that money is evil. In the TV movies or whatever, they show all these evil rich people, and you know, they're making these horrible decisions and ruining lives. And then there's this poor person. They're poor, they don't know how to pay their bills, and they don't have any money, but at least they're kind and they're nice and they're just these amazingly awesome people.
Mhm. But actually, money is amoral. It's neither good or evil. Let's look at the example of a brick. You can do good things with it, or you can do bad things with it. If you get a brick and throw it, you can smash a window, make some damage, or even hurt somebody. But if you get that same brick and you get a lot of bricks together, you can build a church, you can build a hospital, and help a lot of people.
Money is also like a magnifying glass. It just magnifies who you already are. So if you're kind and generous and caring, if you have more money, you're just going to do a lot more kind, generous, and caring things. But if you're a jerk with more money, you're going to be an even bigger jerk. When we first got married, we didn't really know how to handle our money properly. But we were always looking for information. We were trying to find somebody who would share some wisdom with us about how to handle money properly.
Yeah, so after uh, searching through different books and courses, we found Financial Peace University by Dave Ramsey. We took that course and it changed so much in how we view money and how we deal with money in our family.
Yeah, it made a really big, significant change in our life. And that's why we want to share this information with you too.
Mhm. Why is it important for us to devote time to talk about money? Well, first of all, we spend a lot of time working for money, at least 40 hours every week, and that's a lot of hours on lifetime. If you look in the Bible talks about money over 800 times. God was thought it was important to spend so much time to talk about it because the way we spend our money, it talks a lot about who we are.
Yeah, there's a Bible verse that says, "Where your treasure is, there your heart will be also." As married couples, it's really important for us to talk about money and learn to manage it correctly because money fights and money problems have been the leading cause of divorce for decades. But the good news is that this is preventable.
Mhm. Imagine if you were made a manager of an estate that's worth $2,350,000. How would you handle yourself? I'm pretty sure that we would do a lot of research and we'd talk to a lot of different people that maybe do the same thing and manage other estates to get advice on how to manage that sum of money. If your family makes 50,000 a year, over a lifetime you will make $2,350,000.
And if you're managing that money the same way you manage your money today, would your estate prosper or would you have to fire yourself? A lot of people think that it's not that important how they handle their money right now because they don't have a large amount of it. Now, when I make a lot of money, of course I'll make smart decisions with it, they think. Same thing with giving. They think, well, I don't have a lot of money right now, so it's not that important how much I give or don't give. Now, if I had a lot of money, oh, I'm going to be giving left and right. I'm going to be the most generous person ever. Well, the Bible says that Whoever can be trusted with very little can also be trusted with much, and whoever is dishonest with very little will also be dishonest with much. So it's important how we make money decisions now and that we're smart with our money because we can't be trusted with more if we can't do good with what we have today. I'm sure we can all see how it would be so beneficial for us to learn how to make smart decisions with our money. So, how do we win with money as a married couple?
Well, first of all, we need to be very open about it. We need to talk about our money situation. Don't let just one person deal with money and the other person's kind of like, I don't need to worry about it. My husband takes care of that. Or I don't need to worry about it. My wife does this. So I don't even look at the account. Be on the same page together. Be in the known of what's going on with your money.
And have no money secrets.
Mm-hmm.
So, don't have a secret credit card that your spouse doesn't know about. And
Mm-hmm.
we would even suggest that you have one bank account.
Mm-hmm. That will allow you to, it kind of force you to work together with money. When you have separate accounts, it separates you. You are one, you're a couple. So therefore, have a one bank account. To be in a know about money, it means to know how much debt you have, how much savings you have, and have a plan of what to do about it. It's very important when a couple is on the same page with that.
The second part is to live on less than we make. It's kind of, common sense,
No-brainer.
but most people today don't. They live paycheck to paycheck and max out their credit cards too.
Mm-hmm. So, and that's what happens when you have credit cards. You live above your means and you think you can afford it, but really, you don't have the money you're spending.
Not only do you think you can afford it, you think you deserve it. It's kind of like, well, I want to live the way, I want to live nice. I want to
I
have
work
these
hard.
great cars and vacations and house and everything.
Mm-hmm. So to live on the budget is to spend the money that you have. What we did is we've gone a little extreme with our money situation because we've been in debt and we didn't want to go back into debt. We got rid of all of our credit cards. So the only thing we use right now is our debit card with our checking account and our savings account.
To have an emergency fund is so important because you never know what can happen. And in our life, we've only been married for 9 years and we've already had many emergencies come up that were major things. And if we didn't have health insurance, if we didn't have emergency funds, we would have been bankrupt today.
Yes, and so what people usually do not to have savings or not to have emergency fund, they rely on their credit cards and they rely on their credit limit. And they think if I have a credit limit of 5,000, that means I have 5,000 that I can use in case of an emergency. And what happens is the worst place you want to go into debt is when you have an emergency. You want to have money in savings to cover the emergency so you don't have to put more strain on your situation with worries about going into debt.
Yeah, it's stressful enough if you're going through an emergency, but if you don't have money, that makes it even worse.
Mm-hmm. And if you do have money, it's just an inconvenience that you have to deal with, and you just move on.
Mm-hmm. One of the best ways that we have found to save a lot of money and keep track of our finances is to do a budget every month. So what we usually do is when the baby's napping, like right now, or when he's already asleep for the night, we'll sit down and get our laptop, iPad, try to get a snack, some coffee or whatever, and we sit down and we look at our expenses from the previous month and we talk about the expenses for the next month. So we usually do this at the beginning of each month.
Mm-hmm. So budget, what it does is it allows us to see what and plan where we're going to spend our money. Basically, we kind of know the projection of how much money we'll make next month, and we'll put that in one column. And we use an app, which is an EveryDollar app. You can find it on Google, and this is what we use. If you find something better, good for you.
Or you can just use a pen and paper. That works too.
Exactly. We use that app. It's free. So we put in what we spent. We put in first the money that we're going to make, and then we look at how much money we will have and how much we will spend in categories of how we're going to spend it. We kind of know from last month the categories: food, the electric bill, the internet bill, mortgage, all the major expenses, water, all the yes. So, and we can see how much money is left over for saving, how much is money left over for fun, and that's how it goes. And you can check out that app, everydollar.com app. So the good thing about the budget is both of us in a know, and we are both on the same page. We know how much money is coming in and where it's going out. We actually both decide how we're going to spend the money that's coming in. And we don't have to have those awkward or uncomfortable conversations later in the month saying, well, we can't spend there, or we're spending a little bit too much money here, because we both know that this is our budget and this is how much money we can afford to spend. And if the money is not there, then we're postponing that purchase until next month when we actually set aside money in the budget for that. Also,
I was just going to say that it also gives a really clear picture of where we are with our finances, and we're not both wondering, are we okay with our money? Can we afford this or that? If something happens, are we going to be able to cover those expenses? Because we both know what's going on in our finances. So it's a really great way. It really gives you a clear picture.
It changes things when both people know how much money is going in and how it's going out. Because one person can think that I think I got things under control, and we're spending okay, or we're making enough money. But overall, if we both looking at this and at the budget, it paints a little bit different of a picture. Therefore, we can see that, well, we shouldn't do that, and we decide what we should do or we should not do that particular month, according to how much we spend or how much we make in that month.
And I think it gives you a more well-rounded picture when both of you guys are doing it, because you're putting both of your opinions in, not one person just directing how the money's going to be spent. But even though, like in our family, Sergi takes care of like the bills and things like that, but I know exactly what's going on with our budget every month and what's going on with our expenses, and so we both know about our money, even though Sergi does do most of the actual bill paying.
Some things we don't pay every month. Let's say car insurance, we usually try to pay it once for a full year. That way we can get a better discount and do it one payment. So even though you don't have that payment that month, but you should have your monthly payment or your yearly payment divided into months, and have that column in the budget that this is how much we need to be setting aside every month for that one payment when it comes 9 months from now or whatever. Same thing with life insurance, we do that, and taxes. Those three things we pay only once a year. So set things aside. Don't make them come as a surprise into your budget when they come and due. Exactly.
And so when we do our budget, it's a great way to plan, because we're able to look at our expenses and we look at what's going to be going on that month. So we think about, okay, this month we're going to have Thanksgiving, so we're going to need to plan for that. Or we're going to be taking a trip, or the baby grew out of all his clothes and we're going to need to go shopping for more clothes. So that way we're able to plan on that money that we're going to be spending. Or for example, we shopped for clothes last month, so this month we don't need to buy new clothes. It's just a great way to plan, because we can sit down ahead of time and look at what we need to be spending, what's going to be happening, are we traveling? And another thing is that we also look at things that we might need to pay in the future, but we need to think about in advance, like changing our roof. Our roof is more than 20 years old. We know we're going to have to replace it soon. So we are going to need to think about that.
And make sure we have that money set aside. So again, so it doesn't come as a surprise. You don't want to have any surprises with your finances. Everything should be predictable. If something happens and you need to spend extra money out of your emergency fund, that's understandable. Somebody got sick.
That's why it's an emergency fund.
A car broke down, and it's something unexpected. Then, as soon as we took care of that emergency, we are replenishing the emergency fund back to where it should be, and bringing it back to normal.
John Maxwell says it really well. He says that a budget is telling your money where to go instead of wondering where it went. And before we started doing a budget, that's exactly how it was for us. We would look at our account and be just surprised of where is our money going? Because we make money, but where does it disappear to? And by doing a budget, it's a really great way to keep track of your expenses and know where it's all going. And the best way is to do it ahead of time so that you're assigning that money where it's going to be going instead of just hoping it's all going to work out somehow.
And when you do a budget, it's an interesting thing that it's likely that you're going to start slashing your food budget because you have so many receipts from groceries, and that's not the first thing you should look at. Look at how much you're going out to restaurants. That costs a lot more. And there's so many things. It opens your eyes when you look at your account statement and you see how much money you spend and where you spend it. And then you decide together, wow, we shouldn't be spending money this way. Our values is to spend money this way. And that's how you come up with a budget. If this is going to be your first time starting the budget, a good tip for you is look at your bank account or a credit card statement if you have them, or your receipts for the last month, and see how much you spend and where you spend it. That way you have an idea of where you spend and where you usually spend. So when you put all that money into your budget, that's going to give you a picture of and kind of a template of this is approximately what we're going to do next month, and you can decide where you're going to spend more or less according to the last month's statement.
Yeah, and after a while, it's really easy to do a budget because it's pretty much the same thing. It repeats itself every month. So it only takes us like 20 minutes once a month to do it because, the mortgage is the same, the water bill, all of those bills are pretty much similar every month, and we just make adjustments to whatever might be happening this month that's different than last month. So after a while it becomes really easy, but at first it'll take a few months at least to get it going.
Polish it off to kind of have an exact budget. Yep.
And it's also, how should I say this? It's also likely you might have a few fights. You might cry when you do it the first time.
Well, because you realize that you may be making good money or a lot of money, and then you look at how much is going out, and you're not satisfied with that. You want to save more, and you want to have a better purpose for your money, not just coming in and going out and spend it all.
Yeah, the truth hurts, but the truth will also set you free.
Yep. So another way to win as a couple with money is to plan for a future. I like this quote that says, if you fail to plan, you plan to fail.
So talk together about how quickly you're going to pay off your debts. What are you going to do with extra money that you have, or how are you going to earn extra money? Imagine if you could pay off your house fast or soon and you don't have a mortgage every month. what could you do with that money? I mean, that's incredible. If you have kids, are you going to save for their college? How are you going to fund your retirement? All of these things you need to talk about and you need to plan for it. Because if you don't, the years are just going to go by and nothing's going to happen if you don't make it happen. Another benefit of planning and working on this together is that it will only make you closer as a couple. Because whenever you're working on a project together, when you're unified in something, it just makes you that much closer as a team.
Hmm. So when you get together and you talk about your budget, uh, be conscientious of each other. Don't just think about what the only the goals that you have for the future. Also think about it now. What's going on now? Have some money, little money to spend for each other. So it's not like we're just doing all of this and we don't even have $10 in our wallet to buy some fun stuff.
Mhm.
Um,
To go on dates,
mhm. So
to
it's very
build
important.
memories.
Hmm.
But that's only if you're not, in debt and you can't pay your bills. At that point, you need to do free stuff.
Hmm.
Go to the park, go to the library, have picnics at the
There's a
beach.
lot of free places to visit.
Yeah,
It does not require money.
yeah. But most importantly, like Sergi said, we need to consider our family and our spouse. If you're the one who's good with money, don't bully your spouse
Hmm.
and make them feel bad. And if you're not good with money, you need to put in an effort to make smart choices. There are so many benefits we get to enjoy when we make smart choices with our money.
Well, first of all, you don't regret making some stupid decisions when you bought this boat or a car, and it was just as soon as you drove off the lot, and it lost money right away. And when you learn about money, you learn about tricks and tips from people that have done it. Uh, you know how to look for good deals, and you spend your money wisely, and you get a good benefit from it.
It's also such a peace of mind when you don't have to worry about, the bills that you need to pay, the collections that are breathing down your neck, that if there's an emergency and something happens, we're going to be okay. It might be inconvenient. Nobody likes to have to buy a new refrigerator if one breaks or if our car needs repair. But if we have that money set aside in our account, we know that it's okay.
Yeah, it's not the end of the world. Yep.
When we're on the same page about our money, then there's so much less things to fight about.
Mhm.
And, like we talked about earlier, that money and fights about money are the number one reason for divorce. When we take that out of the equation, we've already just reduced our risk for divorce by so much.
That's right. Eliminate that possibility.
Yeah.
One of the practical things we've learned is what is the right way to buy a house and when to buy a house. When you're buying a house, there's a couple of things you have to consider. First of all, how big of a house can you afford? It's good to have at least 10 to 20% for down payment. That will lower your monthly payment. Also, can you afford a 15-year mortgage, fixed rate 15-year mortgage? When you talk to the bank, they always tell you that 30-year is the way to go. But you have to understand, it's their way of getting you in for a lot more years than you should. So 15-year mortgage, fixed rate, is the way to go. You may say, I can't afford a bigger payment a month. Then maybe you shouldn't buy a house as expensive as you're trying to buy. Or also, maybe you should put a little bit more of a down payment on the house to lower that monthly payment. But the difference of 15-year mortgage versus a 30-year mortgage is huge. You're saving thousands and thousands of dollars on your mortgage because you're going with a 15. And also, when you're buying a house, make sure that your monthly payment, is not more than 25% of your take-home pay. It's important so you're not struggling to make a payment. You're not working just to make a payment. So you can enjoy life and enjoy your home when you buy it. Don't just look at the price of the house. think about all the extra things that associate with that price, which is taxes, insurance, homeowner association fees, if they're applied to you. But look at the big number, at the actual number of how much you're going to spend each month on that house. When getting a house, always think about 10 years ahead, not just 1 or 2 years. Think about your family dynamics, how that's going to change. If your kid's going to grow up, will they have enough bedrooms, bathrooms? Are they going to share a room, or will they have to do that in the next 10 years? Because it's not that easy to sell a house and buy another house. It's a long process, and you don't want to be involved in it every couple of years. For example, if you have 3 little girls, 1 bathroom is fine for right now. But when they're teenagers, it won't be enough. So think about your future. Think about at least 10 years forward of how that's going to change for you. And lastly, don't spend all your money before you even move into your house. You don't know what's going to happen with your fridge or your washer. You won't have a landlord to replace those things for you. Now you're the owner, and you would have to take care of that. We're definitely enjoying being homeowners. And when you do it right, it's a pleasure. It's an awesome thing to own a house, and you know that you're not just paying every month to make a profit for somebody. You are actually saving money for your future. It's amazing. So always do research before you make purchases like home, or you buy an insurance or things like that. There's people out there that know a lot more than we did at the time. And by asking them those questions, it saved us so much money and headache. Plus, it gave us options, because when you have more money, you have more options, and you can do so many good things with it. You can give, you can go on vacation that you were dreaming about as a couple, and do it from savings, not that, like Dave Ramsey says sometimes, when you go on vacation and the vacation follows you home. Well, that's what you do when you have a credit card.
Yeah, or you buy all these Christmas presents and you're still paying them off in March or June of the
Yes.
following year.
Christmas in July.
I don't think that's what they refer it to.
No. So when in January all the Christmas gifts are paid, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So when you have extra money, when you go get a car insurance, you can almost always get a discount if you pay it all at once for a full year, or full 6 months, and that will give you 10% more, and even more discount for paying it all at once, not doing it in payments. When you have an emergency fund of 3 to 6 months of expenses, and you happen to lose a job, you're not so prone to just getting out and getting any kind of job. You can live on those savings for a couple of months before you find a really good one, and you don't make those scary decisions because you have to, because next month you won't have anything to pay the bills with.
Or if something medical happens, then you can, focus on getting better, not being stressed out and getting an ulcer on top of whatever else you have because you're worried about money.
And you may think, well, it's easier for you guys to talk about it. You have some money in savings or things like that. And I don't have any money in savings. Well, it didn't start out that way. We had to cut our spending to the point to where we were able to save money. We had to work hard, both of us.
Yeah, we were both working full time for a long time.
Yeah, just to have that buffer so we can make good decisions later.
Yeah, we didn't buy iPhones, or we didn't go on vacations or go out, on fancy dates for a long time while we were saving up that money. But now we can do more fun things. One of the most amazing benefits of making smart choices with our money is the legacy we're going to leave for our children and their children, hopefully. We get to bless the generations that are to come and have an impact on their life because of the choices we're making today. Because when Sergi and I are building our life today and we're planting that into the future, hopefully we have enough money for retirement and enough money to leave for our children and to bless them and to bless their children because the Bible talks about it too.
Mm-hmm. And it's not only leaving a sum of money to your children, it's leaving the knowledge and
Absolutely.
experience of to do it the right way. Because if you don't have that knowledge, you'll waste it.
Mhm. And if you don't know how to spend your money and how to make smart choices, how will you ever teach it to your children?
Mm-hmm. Bible is teaching us to be diligent with money, and the reason is so we can do a lot of good with it. And if you don't have any money, then you can't really give any. And when you do, then the opportunity opens for you to make and do a lot of good with what you've been given and entrusted.
Yeah, we know somebody who builds wells in poor countries. I mean, that's amazing. I would love to do that someday.
Yeah, providing water to people that don't have it.
Hmm. Or building schools, or blessing somebody who isn't doing well financially. Maybe somebody in your family or a good friend is going through a hard time, and you'll be able to bless them if you have it yourself.
Mm-hmm. We're just having a small conversation about money, but what we'd encourage you to do is do more research. If you get a chance, go through Financial Peace University and learn in depth of how to spend, how to earn, what to spend it on, what insurance to have, what not to have, what kind of mortgage to get, which ones not to get.
Mm-hmm.
The information's out there, and we encourage you to seek it out, find it, and use it.
God wants you to be a good manager of the money that He blessed you with. And if you are faithful in what He's given you today, then He will bless you in the future. And if you are making smart choices today, you'll have so many more options for the future.